The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien coming to you live from TFNN, 9:06 a.m. Monday morning. We got about 24 minutes to go until the start of trading, and things picking up pretty much where we left off on Friday. We get the S&Ps up about 2 points right now, trading at 42.30, within a couple points of the high we had pre-market Sunday evening, and you're talking about only 8 points away from the all-time highs that we've had in the S&Ps. Tech stocks down a bit. You get the NASDAQ 100 off 19 points, 13,747. The Dow up 68. 34,810. The Dow, you're talking about an easy number to remember. The highs, 35,000 on the dot in the futures on the Dow. And the Russell up about 4 points, 2290 this morning. The Russell, interesting enough, you talk about AMC, you talk about GameStop, right? Two of the top three valued companies in that index. Some pretty calm action this morning. You got GameStop volume-wise almost non-existent compared to what we've had going on prior days. GameStop, you're up about $6 from $248 to $254. You got AMC shares right now up about $3 at $50.11. Interesting story out there last week talking about some of the executives were able to sell shares that they had in AMC. One in particular, I think it was a board member, was able to get off 40,000 shares at $62. Talking to my dad this week, and I said, heck of a price. You got to credit that trade in terms of that execution. You look at this chart, folks. They had 40,000 shares. All right, I'll try and find the article. Beginning of this year, this calendar year, it's only June 7th, those 40,000 shares worth less than $80,000. He holds with some diamond hands, doesn't sell on the first runoff, and how about waits for $62? Folks, to put $62 on that chart, that is quite an execution to sell off your 40,000 shares, and you're talking about something like $2.4 million as opposed to the 80,000 early on. Nonetheless, interesting, it continues, but low volatility. We'll see what happens on the open on some of those stocks. I bring it up because of the outsized impact they've had on the Russell 2000 in particular. Jumping around to commodities. Crude, quite an acceleration for crude. That's an uptrend a big way. It's continuing. We're pushing all-time highs. You make $70 last night on crude. We pushed that level at about 9 p.m. Eastern time. We've backed off a bit to $69.44. You got gold down about $3 at $18.88 this morning. And as we talked about on the update, we got notes pulling back a bit. We got the 10-year at 132.02 right now. All right, jumping around to what else we got going on. So Apple. We got the NASDAQ 100 is down marginally. You got Apple up marginally. Big day for Apple. They get their Worldwide Developer Conference. Kicks off at 1 p.m. Eastern time, I believe. They'll probably stream that live. We'll see if they have anything to talk about. Sometimes they announce whatever they announce at these conferences. Sometimes they may not. Do they have more items coming down the pipeline, right? So keep your eye on Apple, as they will be in a steady stream of news coming out of the Worldwide Developers Conference. I believe they do stream that at about 1 p.m. Eastern time. Taking a look at the daily on Apple, remarkable action when you think about how they've just crushed it on earnings in a big way. And you're talking about that we're trading at prices in Apple that you're back to still August of last year. We're at 125.89. You were trading at 124.87. There you go. 128.79. So you're back to August 24th of last year. Now, Apple really accelerating. You got to go back to a 3-year weekly to get the full COVID lows. Remarkable. You're talking about $53. Now, remember, there was a split in here, so we didn't see a price of $53 actually at the lows. That is split adjusted. Nonetheless, you're still sitting at 1.5 times the lows. You're still sitting at over a 50% return from the highs that we came into COVID, let alone when you look at it, the last 2.5 years, you've had Apple run from 35 to 125. Do you remember the sell-off we get towards the end of 2018? And again, even if you take the highs before that sell-off, so you're going back to October of 2018, okay, a little bit less than 3 years basically that we're pushing, and you trade from a level of about $53 to 125. Folks, that's still, at that time, you're talking about 150% return basically on Apple in less than 3 years, and that is cherry picking the highs of 2018 to the current prices that we sit at, and that's after a consolidation of a period of 8 months. remarkable when you think about the appreciation of that company. And, of course, it shows in the market capitalization of $2.1 trillion. They have 16.6 billion shares outstanding. Remarkable. I mean, if that company's trading at, what, $6, right? It's a $100 billion company, just to put things in context of how many Apple shares are outstanding. 6.6 billion. If that's a dollar company, that company's worth $16.6 billion. Keep that in mind when you see it. Now, Amazon, quite a different story. We're trading basically flat this morning on Amazon. Amazon's got 500 million shares. Apple's got 16 billion. But yeah, that's why Amazon's trading at 3,200 and Apple's trading at 100 and change. Okay, jumping around to what else we got going on this morning, or should I say what we have going on this morning, the G7. So they strike a deal to revamp the tax rules for the biggest firms. There's going to be a lot of writing about this in terms of the implications, how this is going to affect different countries, how it's going to affect whether it's taxes that companies are paying in the U.S. or abroad, or where they do business. The ministers agree to a minimum corporate rate of at least 15%. I think we can all agree in principle on that. It always gets down to the details, right, and how that plays out. You get into the nuts and bolts of what happens. So the group of 7 rich nations, landmark deal, help countries collect more taxes from big companies and enable governments to impose levies on tech giants. And you got the Amazon, Facebook, Google's in there, I'm sure, Microsoft, right? So the U.S. had put this forward. President Biden had put it forward, at least 15% on foreign earnings, okay? Paves the way of levies and multinationals in countries where they take money, where they make money, instead of just where they are headquartered. All right, so you got a lot of companies that are searching out tax havens, right, all across the country. I mean, you look at it, I just want to pull up this chart here. Worldwide average statutory corporate income tax rates have been declining for 4 decades. You don't have to be a genius to see the decline, folks, from the 80s down to where we are now, and it's continuing to drop. Even from 2010, you go from 24.5, you drop an additional 0.6%, and that's after a drop out of bed. Basically, from the 80s, you go from 41% down to 25%. You know, you got to make the argument that you got to be competitive on a world scape, et cetera. But now the focus will shift to the July meeting of the G20 finance ministers in Italy and long-running talks between about 140 countries at the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD. So we'll see how that plays out, but that'll be a big factor in terms of how companies do business, where they're able to skirt the laws of taxation, et cetera. The G7 pact marks a step to rewrite a global system that critics said allowed big companies to save billions in dollars in tax bills by shifting jurisdictions. Hard to argue there when you look at the tax rates. Some of these companies pay that they just make oodles and oodles of cash in a big way. And so we'll see where that plays out. They're starting at 15%. So the U.S. initiative for the OECD could recast landscape for corporations. So in the blue, you have the corporate tax rate in 2020. And in the red, you have the U.S. proposal of global minimum tax rate. And you can see that most of them are hitting it, right? Where you are, the U.S. 25.8, the minimum be 15. You got some on the left, Ireland. Companies love to do business in Ireland. They're able to cut that rate in a big way. So we'll see how that plays out. But nonetheless, interesting news and probably some pretty important news in terms of the ramifications it could have on a long-term basis with that type of an agreement. All right, folks, we got 15 minutes to go until the opening bell. Pulling back the S&Ps, sitting basically near pre-market highs, 42.28. We got the NASDAQ negative 22 and the Dow up 63. Stay tuned, folks. I'll be right back in 3 minutes.
Golden ratios give shape to everything in our world. Represented in the Fibonacci sequence, these special numbers define the patterns that make up our universe. Not even markets can escape the omnipotence of these ratios. Larry Pesavento is a 45-year market veteran who has published nearly a dozen books on the powerful patterns we find in nature and their relationships with the ever-elusive markets. Larry's newsletter, Fibonacci 24/7, will teach you to harness the power of these natural golden ratios in order to create successful trades. Fibonacci 24/7 is designed to teach the tools you need to identify and act on these undeniable and reoccurring patterns. Sign up for Larry's newsletter, Fibonacci 24/7, and you will also receive free access to his trading webinar, Trading Strong Trending Markets. Try out Larry's newsletter risk-free. All of TFNN's newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
What's separating you from the most successful men and women on Wall Street? That's right, information. Having all the information gives us the perspective we need to place the right trades at the right time. The TAS Profile Scanner is the premier market profile-based scanner. Powered by its acclaimed TAS proprietary algorithms, this feature-rich scanner instantly filters over 2,500 plus global financial markets, such as stocks, ETFs, commodities, futures, and Forex. This powerful suite of tools leverages instant trade filtering and strategy formulation to show you emerging trades before they happen. For a limited time, you can save $100 off your first month by using the promo code UPGRADE, and you still get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Level the playing field with the TAS Profile Scanner, which you can find under the Services tab at TFNN.com. Sign up today.
Hey there, I'm Andy Albertine with Tiger Precious Metals and Stones. Whether you're looking to buy and sell precious metals or trying to find the perfect diamond ring, I'm here to help. I have over 15 years of experience with diamonds and precious metals. You can call me directly at 727-329-8245, and I will personally answer any questions you have and help you find exactly what you're looking for. I will be your personal concierge in the metal and stone business. Give me a call today, 727-329-8245.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. We got about 12 minutes to go into the opening bell. S&P's within a quarter of the point of where we closed on Friday. Jumping around to other stories today. So Jeff Bezos in the news. Not surprising. We have Amazon down about $2 coming into the open, sitting right at about $3,200 this morning. So it turns out Bezos, he's going to grab one of the seats on the first flight to space for Blue Origin. So plans to travel to space on Blue Origin's first flight next month when the company launches its first passenger carrying mission. Remarkable that we're right here. I mean, you talk about it all the time. Space tourism is here, folks. It's happening. So he will be going up there alongside with his brother. He talked about and made that post, I guess, on Instagram on Monday. Scheduled launch next month will be about 2 weeks after the billionaire plans to step down as the CEO. So he's out as CEO and he's flying off to space, folks. That's it. No, I imagine he'll be back and he'll still be chairman of Amazon. He says ever since he's been 5 years old, he's dreamed to go to space, probably along with most other children in the world. They're auctioning off the third seat, I believe it is. So it'll be Bezos, his brother. They'll auction off the third seat. That seat, I believe, the high bid stood at $2.8 million Monday morning. That will end June 12th, and that bidding was prior to, I guess, Bezos announcing he'll be on it. That'll probably boost that a bit. But interesting when you look at how close we are to kind of a new world, folks, when you talk about that Blue Origin. Now, Richard Branson and his stock, Virgin Galactic Space, they've been getting some good action in a big way. We're up to 62.80. You're down to 15. Turns out that they're going to be back in the business of sending people back into space. You've now doubled the price we were trading at in Virgin Galactic from about 15 to 86 on May 19th, as the realization is setting into the market that this is a real deal. Space tourism is here. And it is not going to be cheap, folks. That is for sure. As that seat going to be millions and millions of dollars to sit with Mr. Bezos and his brother. But I imagine normal seats not going to be on the cheap side as well. All right, what else we got going on? I want to jump a little bit to this story, which was interesting, talking about Bitcoin. So Bitcoin sitting pretty steady at about 36,000. Where are we this morning? 36,730, right? We got a little bit of a consolidation under 40,000, kind of this area back to the beginning of January we've had on here. And pretty cool story here, talking about a Bitcoin experiment from 7 years ago. So kudos to these guys and girls, whoever was running this experiment. But boy, yeah, Bitcoin has risen a lot in that time. So what it had to do with is you have one person here, a student, Mary Spangers, maybe, winning lottery ticket as they call it. So what it was is they got the offer MIT, folks. Boston, growing up in Boston. So many brilliant educational institutions, MIT being one of them. Harvard, of course, a notable second, along with many, many others, too many to even begin naming. They had an experiment going on. I'm sliding it down. So MIT project, 2014. Listen how this goes, considering where we are now. Hindsight's 2020. In 2014, every undergraduate at MIT had the chance to claim 1/3 Bitcoin, a string of code on an online ledger, as we're all pretty familiar with now. About 3,100 students grabbed the offer. All it took, folks, was that they'd fill out a long questionnaire and go over some educational handouts. They'd then set up a digital wallet, which holds the code they could exchange for something of value, including cash. So they would get the 1/3 Bitcoin. All they had to do is fill out the questionnaire. When you think about how simple that is now, right? Right now, that would be worth about, what's 1/3 of a Bitcoin? $36,000, 12,000 plus, 12,200 and change right now you're talking about for 1/3 of a Bitcoin. Now, the experiment was the brainchild of two Bitcoin evangelists, Dan Eliter, an MBA student who had just founded the school's Bitcoin Club, and Jeremy Rubin, undergrad computer science major. They sought to take a glimpse into the future of what's possible with this tech. They were just trying to spread the technology. It's just interesting to see. And when you get around these colleges, folks, you get these young people. And look at this. So you got Elitzer, he's now 37, so he was 30 at the time, not exactly 20. And, they're talking about MBA students, et cetera. Just brilliant minds, just, willing to let their thoughts go in terms of what is possible. They create this thing. Bitcoin at the time was probably not much money. They raised the thing. They want to push the technology around, see what can happen. If you had held on to it, you're talking about huge money. The study illustrated that Bitcoin could function like an investment or, as one said, an asset, a store of value, as they wish. We'll see, right? But as it went up to 65,000, it's now at 36,000. It's just cool to see the types of things that have gone on through Bitcoin. This is one in particular when you think about they were just two believers early on, and hopefully these two gentlemen that started this put some Bitcoin away from themselves, because if they were pushing this kind of energy into Bitcoin back in 2014, I believe it is? What did I say? 2014, right? Let me get back up there. Come on, shame on me. Yeah, I think it is. Yes, 2014, every undergraduate. But you see how, this is the type of thing, folks, that you get into these amazing universities, and they should all do it, but the students enhance the experience as well, right? Every single student at MIT had the ability to create a digital wallet and get free Bitcoin back in 2014. Imagine the few people that might have gotten pulled into that experience, that maybe they weren't a part of that experience prior. Look where we are now and see what's possible. Pretty cool when you look in hindsight where we are. All right, let's jump to a little inflation. So Bloomberg's got a story out here. I love riding a bicycle, folks. Very fortunate, live in Florida. Got myself a nice bicycle. Got to get tuned up a little bit right now probably, but it's still in working condition. I did not pay $5,000 for that bicycle, even though it's a Trek. It's a great bike. Trek. Great brand for sure. A lot of great brands out there, but it ain't $5,000. But guess what? You're talking about 10% rises in bicycles. The hobby enjoying a new wave of pandemic popularity, bicycling, right? Customers heading to the stores find out that stocks are depleted, prices have surged. This is all the rage in terms of figuring out, folks. You go to Santa Cruz, okay? You want a full suspension carbon mountain bike. How about $47.49? The key here is, yeah, that's a pricey bike. It was a pricey bike a year ago, but it wasn't as pricey as 10% to the upside, folks. 10% in 1 year, the cost of that. Now, I'm sure you might be seeing some costs in terms of cost of goods going into that rising, so they may be rising the prices. But it's big numbers. And realistically, I don't see them coming back down anytime soon. Now, you look at sales across the U.S. bicycle market rose sharply in 2020. New bikes, including e-bikes, you see the spike, right? 2019, $4 billion. 2019, they had $800 million. That is a lot of extra bikes. Used bikes, 2019, 1.3. You go to 2020, 1.7 percentage-wise. Bananas, parts and accessories, it makes sense. You got more bikes, you got to spend more to take care of them. Maybe people have a little bit of an older bike. I just said mine needs a little bit of a tune-up, right? And then service, same deal. That would fall into the same category. Maybe people had those bikes stored away. You're stuck at home a little bit longer. There's a spike. But it's just something that to keep your radar on, folks. And in these stories, you don't see it going the other way anytime soon. People's tendencies have changed. And once you get a bicycle, you enjoy that. Maybe you go biking with your friends, all right? The things that we're all craving, our lives have changed a little bit. Just keep your eye on it because it's not going to change in a couple months. There's going to be some inflationary tendencies, and this is just one as it keeps going in a big way. I mean, the next story I wanted to jump to following it, right? Flush with stimulus cash, consumers are spending more. The Bank of America CEO, Brian Moynihan. So he's talking about consumer spending has surged amidst the reopening. I mean, that's why you're seeing these types of stories. That's a contributor in a big way. Our consumers have lots of money in their checking accounts, Moynihan said. This was on CBS's Face of the Nation yesterday. They have not spent about 65 to 75% of the last couple rounds of stimulus. That's a big number, folks. We're going to talk a little bit more about that because that means the pent-up level of savings, it's there and it's waiting to be spent. We'll be right back with the opening bell.
Are you having fun trading the markets but having trouble finding like-minded individuals to discuss your trading and investment ideas with? Become an apex predator in the trading markets and join the Tiger's Den Trading Room only at TFNN.com. The Tiger's Den is an exclusive trading room where successful traders from around the world come to exchange trades and ideas. Join the den and surround yourself with the sharpest minds in the trading world. Subscribers to the Tiger's Den are also the first to have their questions answered live on air and can privately chat with our TFNN hosts live during their shows. Interact with other Tigers and Tigresses as they share trading ideas, news analysis, and discuss the market action all trading day. Subscribe to the Tiger's Den risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee and become part of the TFNN trading community. TFNN, educating investors.
You could be making money off the stock market. And if you're already making money off the stock market, you could be making a lot more. Check out TFNN and Tiger TV and get expert investing advice to give you the power to control your financial future. Go to TFNN.com and find the newsletter for you. Whether you're into trading gold, metals, futures, currencies, or options, you'll get advice and analysis to help you seriously get ahead. TFNN also features trading services with a 30-day money-back guarantee for new subscribers, as well as TFNN's Tiger Den Trading Room, trading software, and educational webinars for all trading levels. And make sure you check out Tiger TV for free on TFNN.com or TFNN's YouTube channel for live financial content from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern on market days. Stop watching on the sidelines while other people get rich and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABCs, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. We got markets open. We got S&P flat right now at 42.29. Jumping back to that story from a moment I was talking about here. So you had Bank of America CEO Brian Moynihan. One hand, take a look at this statistic. Spending by consumers at Bank of America exceeded $1 trillion so far this year. Now it's June 7th, so we're not even halfway through the year. That is up 20% over 2019. Kudos for the comparison. If you watch the program, folks, comparing to 2020 is almost useless at this stage. Tell me where we are compared to a normal year like 2019. Spending is up 20%. Now, spending's up 20%. combine that with the fact that consumers have a lot of money in their checking accounts. They've not spent about 65 to 75% of the last couple rounds of stimulus. So consumers have $3 out of $4, or close to $2 to $3 out of $3, somewhere in that range, right, of stimulus spending sitting in their checking account. And even with that much stimulus sitting in their accounts, they still have spent more than 20% over what they spent in 2019. Staggering number. Now, this stuff makes sense. Domestic travel, car rentals, hotel increase, consumer spending, buying foods in the store is not happening as much as now it's sit-down restaurants, etc. U.S. economy projected to grow at 7% this year, 5.5% next year. That's what Bank of America is looking for. Some strong statistics there leading to some big numbers in terms of spending. Now, the interesting thing you got to go to next, though, is how does that translate to jobs? So this number makes me think, okay, there's plenty of money to be spent. But is that money going to translate into enough economic activity to the businesses that need them to get back the 8 million or so jobs that we haven't reclaimed prior to COVID? I mean, if that spending just goes to Amazon, Walmart, Target, Lowe's, Home Depot, Microsoft, Google, etc., Facebook, you might not see the job creation that you might have prior when some of that spending was being spent on businesses that needed it most, where some of those jobs have been lost. That's going to be kind of the battle that goes on there. The economy is going to be great, but is it going to be able to bring back those 8 million jobs? Some people coming out of the job force, you know, there's a lot of people that were really close to retirement maybe. All right, they've left the job force. It's not exactly a bad thing. Maybe they've realized, guess what? Life is short. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow, and I ain't working anymore if I really think that I can retire. And guess what? I've gotten used to this last year. Maybe I'm 60 years old. I was right on the verge of it, and I figured out, you know what? Stocks have run pretty well in the last year. My retirement's up. I'm able to do it, and I don't feel like going back to work. And if that happens, then where does the Fed come in? It's just one after the other in terms of how things keep going. But how does the Fed play into that if we struggle to get back those 8 million plus jobs at a time when we just got non-farm payrolls in the month of May on Friday? Kind of a weak number. You add up April and May, and you're talking about less than 1 million jobs added for those 2 months, when we remember that the totals for April alone, they were looking for maybe 1 million jobs. So we've really tampered down the expectations in a big way for the jobs added. Fed's going to be in there for a while, which is why we see the interest rate of the 10-year right now. You're talking about a 10-year yield of 1.574% now, 1.574, really pulling back from the yields we had, which were 1.6 something, et cetera, last week. We'll see how that plays out. We're going to see it play out on a continual basis. All right, what else we got going on? Got to talk about Tesla this morning. Wouldn't be a morning without talking about Tesla. So Elon, he says Tesla officially canceled the Model S Plaid Plus. You got a lot of models going on. So Tesla had promised the Plaid Plus version of the Model S would deliver 520 miles range and an acceleration from 0 to 60 in less than 2 seconds. Turns out, I guess that's not quite what they want to use their time and money on. So canceled the most expensive variant of its flagship sedan, the Model S. Previously, Tesla and Musk promised fans the tri-motor Plaid Plus version of the new Model S would give drivers 1,100 horsepower, 520 miles of range, and a 0 to 60 in less than 2 seconds. But on Sunday, he wrote, it's canceled. No need. It's just the Plaid is just so good, as in no need to go above it with the Plaid Plus. 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds, quickest production car ever made of its kind, has to be felt to be delivered. So he's talking about in there the Plaid, which I guess is 0 to 60 as well. Nonetheless, you know, if you're an investor in Tesla, you better realize that things are very fluid in that company, as we all know. There's Tesla. We're down a bit right now, down about 1.5% from 600 to about 590 this morning on Tesla. Let's jump around to some of the different tech stocks. So Amazon right now, we're basically flat. You get the NASDAQ 100 down 10 points. Microsoft shares up 0.1%. Checking in on Apple ahead of their Worldwide Developers Conference, actually pulling back on the open. We're flat right now. We'll call it down 0.1% at 125.71 for Apple shares. And let's jump around to see what else we have going on this morning in terms of stocks. So Microsoft, they won approval from antitrust regulators in the U.S. for its $16 billion deal to buy artificial intelligence company Nuance Communications. They said reviews are still taking place in other jurisdictions, but expected the deal to close by the end of 2021. And we take a look at Microsoft, barely positive this morning, catching a little bit of a bid on the open to 251.12. KKR, they're going to acquire Yeah, Airport Services Company. I'm going to slide up real quick because that's one transaction with KKR going on. But how about the deal, between Blackstone and Carlyle, along with Hellman and Friedman? They're going to buy medical supplies company Medline for $34 billion, according to debt. That would be the largest leveraged buyout deal since 2008 financial crisis. Whew. Separately, the Journal reports that Blackstone is going to announce a deal to buy data center operator QTS Realty Trust, $6.7 billion. They're up pre-market, but the Medline deal, $34 billion. Medical supplies, Medline, medical supply company, great industry to be in, I'm sure, as that's only going to accelerate in the future in the U.S., but staggering numbers up there, $34 billion for those private equity and a leveraged buyout. Visa. So Visa's up this morning. Let's see how they're reacting on the open. Yeah, continuing. I thought that may happen. 1.7%. Visa, you look at the daily, right? We're pushing basically the highs we have at 237. You pull them all the way back to 220, which almost got you back remarkably to September of last year, 217 we were at. Let's put this on a 3-year weekly for Disney to see the full scope of COVID. We're basically sitting just above the levels that we had coming into COVID, but they get an upgrade to overweight from neutral at Piper Sandler, which said it expects the payment network operator to benefit more from the vaccine-driven U.S. recovery than MasterCard. Visa's up this morning, and Peloton, they're up as well. So they get a new rating, new coverage at Loop Capital with a buy, which notes a 40% drop from the January highs, 40% from this year, right? And an expectation that the financial impacts of the company's treadmill recalls is likely overstated. So basically saying it's pulled back a little much. Yeah, they have some woes, but 40% probably not fair. That's a weekly. I already had it. Folks, 382, the 50%, and the 618. Put them on your charts because they are something I'm always watching on Fibonacci levels. You know, I'm watching Fibonacci. I'm watching moving averages. I'm watching volume, ABCs. And this thing pulls right back to basically the 50%, 78.85. We touch a level. We make it to a low of 80.48 within about $1.50 of that price. And this morning, we're up more than 3% on Peloton. And yeah, I imagine, folks, that Peloton is something that is going nowhere, you know, in a big way, as in they are ingrained in society at this point. They become a phenomenon. And when you think about the amount of value that they get from their monthly subscriptions, I told you, I started off with, real bikes are $5,000 now. Now, that's a pretty souped-up bike, folks. You don't get to spend $5,000. Go out and buy a bike at Target for a couple $100 or something, get outside. But Peloton, they get away with charging you $45 a month, I think it is, after you spend $2,000 to buy their bike. Quite a business plan, but when you can get people to sign up, why not? You got Peloton up 2.6% to start off the trading week. Stay tuned, folks. I'll be right back in 3 minutes.
Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Well, welcome back, folks. We have the S&P's flat right now. Tech stocks down a bit. NASDAQ 100 off about 30 points this morning. We have the Dow up 38, and we got the Russell a little bit of a bid on the open at 22.95. When you're talking about the S&P bumping up right near all-time highs, 42.27, about 10 points from that level. And you're talking about a Dow giving it up a little bit on the open, but the Dow, we're talking about 35,000, the highs there. All right, jumping around to what else we got going on. Next Wednesday, folks, a week from this coming Wednesday, June 16th, our man Dave White. You can listen to him every trading day here at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, live with the Power of Trading Hour. Dave will be hosting a special live subscriber webinar talking about ensemble methods for option expiration plays. Now, you can get into this by being a subscriber to any of Dave's products. So you have the Path of Least Resistance, his daily trading newsletter, the Tech Insider, that's a weekly investment newsletter, okay, or the Art of Timing the Trade charts, the product, the software product that Dave developed with my dad. Any of those products, Path Least Resistance, Tech Insider, or the Art of Time of the Trade charts. If you're a subscriber already, you gain access to this already. If you're not, I encourage you to sign up for one of them. You gain access to the newsletter. Everything we do, folks, new subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. And Dave's going to be talking about a framework for finding trades for option expiration plays. So Dave, goes over what he's going to go over in terms of the points here. As it mentioned in the description talking about this, okay, since he wrote his first white paper, Stocks and Commodities Magazine, in 2004, amazing, it's 2021, he's been a disciple of asymmetric trades. The small but high-risk trades, huge returns, allows for even those that are right just even half the time or even less than that, folks, depending what you're talking about. Single indicators work certain times. Using all indicators ends up with paralysis by analysis. We've all been through it, right? You can just analyze until you're exhausted. But nonetheless, the mid-ground is an ensemble, as he says, not a solo act and not an orchestra. See how to put together a jazzy ensemble of proprietary indicators of options, expiration charts, sector oscillators, power law vector indicator, highly shorted, daily shorting indicators, and put call ratios. Find trades and zero in on them like a rifle and not a shotgun. So that'll be next Wednesday, folks. You can subscribe to any of Dave's newsletters, Path of Least Resistance or Tech Insider. And all the newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, folks. So I encourage you, if you're signing up, check out the 6-month or check out the yearly. If you plan on staying on, and I encourage you to do so, Dave's got some great products, you still get a 30-day money-back guarantee, and you'll gain access to his webinar, hour-long webinar, June 16th, Ensemble Methods for Option Expiration Plays, and that will be archived, of course, as well. Okay, what else we got going on? I want to jump to this one. Interesting. So last night, Showtime, there was quite a boxing match. Interesting, it was last night. The headline bout here went on about 11 p.m. Eastern Time. I was out like a light, folks. No way I was going to be able to watch that, let alone actually pay for this fight. So you have Logan Paul, a YouTube sensation, fighting Floyd Mayweather, arguably the greatest boxer ever, right? Now, the way that you set this one up is Mayweather's 44 and Paul's 26. Now, this one I kind of didn't agree with on the get-go because I don't have a problem with pitting people, maybe if they're not boxers, as in when you had, MMA fighters fighting boxers. That one I understand, right? You might say, well, an MMA fighter has no chance in a boxing ring. You might be right, okay? But when you just start pitting boxers who are past their prime versus young guys who aren't boxers, you might get somebody hurt. You really might, right? Because does a 26-year-old that's really have no history, not to the likes of Mayweather, belong in this ring? I saw some indications last night in terms of the punch totals. Mayweather destroyed him. Okay, now, nonetheless, you get the point there, right? Well, what's interesting here to bring into the market forces is how Showtime really dropped the ball here. Okay, so what the headline is that it goes dark for many Showtime customers. This was a huge opportunity, and you just can't fail like this in this day and age when you're competing with the likes of Bezos with Prime, Reed Hastings with Netflix, Disney, the juggernaut, the new one on the block, let alone you got Discovery and Time Warner now merging, along with the many other streaming platforms that are out there. So Showtime, they were selling this for $49.95, I believe. Yes, it is. $49.99, not $95. For the fight, they need those extra 4 pennies, $49.99. Took place at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, good old Florida, of course. We're aware of the issue impacting tonight's pay-per-view event, as well as the Showtime and Showtime apps. That was Viacom talking about it. That's a Viacom company. Now, that failed at about 8 p.m. Eastern time. As I said, the headline bout didn't go on until about 11 o'clock. Streaming outages during major televised events common? Yeah, well, guess what? That's not quite the case. Now, here's the key in terms of it would be really interesting to see how much money they take out of this, because the definition of streaming content is just changed. It has changed, folks. The fight itself didn't satisfy some viewers, even if you were able to watch it, because no winner was announced. It's an exhibition bout, and there's no knockout, so it's not going to get scored. If it had, Mayweather would have won on a landslide. The punch totals, I'll see if I can get them. You know what? I will get them before the next break, because I was looking at them this morning. One of my friends was talking about them through the roof. But it'd be interesting to see, because this would not have flown in terms of being a content driver in the years past. But nowadays, when we've merged a YouTube sensation with a fighting sensation like Mayweather, all you're talking about is eyeballs, folks, and YouTube sensations. And Logan Paul, I'm not a fan. Not many people are fans. That's the reason why he's probably gotten the press that he's gotten. But nonetheless, he gets the viewers. So many viewers that they crash the Showtime app. Showtime, Viacom, they got to get their act together, because nowadays you just can't have that type of stuff happening, especially when you're talking about something that's been so anticipated as this type of fight. They got a lot of publicity, and they got the people to come. And how are you a company like Viacom, and you're telling me that you can't have an app that can compete? And so Viacom down, yeah, is that Viacom, right? Yes. I believe so. Sure. Yeah, Viacom CBS. I didn't know what the CB. You have a company. I just wanted to bring up the valuation of this company in terms of that's a negative press story. You got a company worth $27 billion. We'll round up. Okay, you got to spend the money to be able to compete, to stay live when you're at an event like that drives new people to your service. Nonetheless, didn't happen at Viacom. They're a little bit lower by about 0.3%. Let's jump around to some of those other streaming companies. Discovery. They've really taken a beating lately. I dabbled a little bit in Discovery as this thing cascaded. I'm in a negative position now, but that's a long-term position that I put away. Discovery merging with Time Warner. The market loved it before the pre-market and then sold it off in a way we haven't seen in a while. May 17th, they come out with that deal, and we're trading at $31.65 for Discovery. We'll jump around to the King streamer, Netflix, pushing the bottom of that consolidation. You're looking to get into Netflix. Man, 480 is the bottom range of that consolidation. We've been in there since almost a full year, folks. July 1st. Yeah, this is a daily. July 1st, you're pushing 488. And July 2nd, we're pushing 492. So you've been in a year-long consolidation, and not only a year-long consolidation, but we're on the lower boundary line of that consolidation. Doesn't mean it can't trade lower, but at least it's an area you could set a price, put your stop in place maybe. We'll jump to Disney. Disney shares this morning up about 0.1%. I talked about those Fibonacci's. Disney initially bounces off the 50%, We've backed off around that 382. Disney up about 0.1%. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back in 3 minutes to finish up the show.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
Markets can rise and fall like the tides. Subscribe to Basil Chapman's newsletter, The Opening Call, and you too can ride the wave. Basil Chapman is an authority in technical analysis. His Chapman Wave trading system has been helping traders identify trends and capitalize on momentum in the markets since 1984. TFNN invites you to test Basil's proprietary Chapman Wave trading methodology with a monthly subscription to the Opening Call newsletter for only $149. Your subscription to the Opening Call comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, as well as daily market updates on key indexes, stocks, and commodities. Ride the wave. Sign up for the Opening Call risk-free today.
Introducing Primal Edge.
Today, it's even more important to take a supplement that complements your health. Primal Edge is specifically formulated to boost your immune system and help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Our early ancestors found all their nutritional requirements in the wild environment. But today, our food sources don't contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that we need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated humic and fulvic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They've been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, without them, life cannot exist.
That's right, Ellen. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge. Just $89 exclusively at TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. We have the S&Ps down about 5 points right now. And as I'm jumping around, I want to pull up this graphic real quick. I said I would give it a show for that boxing match. And so there's the statistics, folks. It does not get judged in terms of a winner or a loser, but you got Mayweather landing 43 out of 107 for 40% to his punches, and you got Logan Paul 28 out of 217 on the power side. How about 39% of Mayweather punches versus just 15% of Logan Paul's? Mayweather landed almost double those punches. Nonetheless, not the kind of bouts that you want to see set up, folks, if you really appreciate good competitive nature. I don't want to see a guy who's maybe past his prime but a brilliant fighter fighting a young guy who's a athletic specimen but not really a fighter. You're kind of, pairing just old age versus younger, unexperienced. Nonetheless, interesting stuff, and they're driving content. Okay, S&P's down about 4 points, NASDAQ down 27. Let's jump to commodities real quick. We got crude hanging right at near the highs. We're talking about $69.58, right near the $70 price point. Gold contract, we were lower. We've caught a little bit of a bid there from where we were to start off the program, or 8 o'clock, I should say. We're at $18.92 right now in the price of gold. Let's check in on notes and bonds. Yeah, just sitting right where we are. We're talking about a 10-year yield of about 1.57% right now on the 10-year. 132.02 is what we're trading at over there. And what else we got as we end the program right now? Let's jump around to some of those FANG stocks as we ended out. Amazon shares sitting right at about 32.03. We got Microsoft shares this morning trading higher, 251.83. Maybe some antitrust concerns easing in one of their acquisitions. And we'll jump over to Apple. Biggest company in the world. They got one of their biggest days out there, Worldwide Developer Conference, kicking off this afternoon. And shareholders maybe selling ahead of that news. Apple down about 0.6% at 125.13 right now. We were as high as 126.47 pre-market. So we've given up almost $1.50 in the first 25 minutes of trading for Apple shares. All right, folks, thanks so much for tuning in. Starting your Monday with me. Stay tuned. We got our man Basil Chapman. He's coming up live next, live across the board today. I know we had a couple vacations in the prior weeks for the host. Live across the board. We got our man Basil at 10 o'clock. Fast Market by TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim at 11. Larry Pesavento. Trade what you see at noon. Steve Rhodes at 1 o'clock. Dave White with the Power Trading Hour at 2 o'clock. Don't forget about Dave's courses, his subscriptions. Sign up for that options webinar he's got coming up next week. And, of course, my dad rounds it out live from 3 till 4. Stay tuned, folks. Live programming all day. Have a great Monday.